Good Monday, juniors. I hope you had a great, wonderful, relaxing weekend. I hope you're ready to be on top of things this week and ready to roll right through it because we're going to do a lot this week and we're going to really start to get things going and start to ratchet things up a little bit. Let's take a look at what we got going on today. So first off, again, just to kind of remind you of how Google Classroom works, we'll take a look at a couple things here. When you log into the class, you'll see our header here. So you know which class you're in, and then you'll get the daily agenda. So there'll be a little greeting, a little bit of information about what we're doing. And then you'll see this. This will be our agenda for the week. And you'll see each of the days that we will, each of the days this week. Also linked so you can go down and see what's going on a particular day. Inside of this, we'll have some information about what's going on. We'll have a link to the documents that you'll be needing. And again, that information will also be posted in Classroom. Let's take a look at our essential question of the day. The question we want to really focus on is how do we learn about characters? So when the author produces a work and we have any number of characters in the story, we want to know a little bit about them. It's not just a really, like a static thing where like, here's a person, he says this and he does this. We want to know why and how. We want to feel and we want to like, how do I relate to that character, right? And so we want to be able to understand who this person is. All right, so that's our activities. We'll be spending the bulk of today looking at some notes on this, and then you'll be adding in some your own reactions and your own samples into that. The goal that will develop the skills necessary to analyze characters. This is a foundational piece, meaning what we're going to be doing today is we're going to continue this throughout the rest of this unit. We also have the 80s movie quote of the day, and I think you're going to be pretty familiar with that one. That's the classic Clint Eastwood line, "Go ahead, make my day." I think there's a lot of different variations of that, and that comes from the movie Sudden Impact. All right, let's take a look here. So and we also have the quote here as well. So when you go to classwork, here's today's date. You will notice that we labeled the assignment in a way that helps you understand what we're doing. Practice, that's the type of assignment that we're doing. Date, that's the date that it'll be due. And then characterization, it gives you an idea of what we're doing. It may be the title of the work we're doing, an annotation. It may, characterization, constructive response, or something like that, right? So it gives you some sense of what we're doing. It's also listed here under the date. So, today we're doing this, okay? And again, like I told you before, we'll put it in the grade book as such. We'll label it in the grade book by the assignment and the date. You'll also notice that we have the rest of the week up here. So if there is any time this week that you are not in class, you know where you can go and find the assignments. You're also able to take a look ahead and be thinking about, okay, here's some things coming up maybe I can be preparing for. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at this. We're going to pull up the assignment here. And what we're looking at is understanding who and what a character is in the story, right? What did the author do to create this person? So we know, we have an idea of who they are and why they're doing the things they're doing. And like I said, we can empathize with them or understand them or relate to them, right? And to do that, we're going to do the STEAL method, okay? Speech, thought, effects, action, and look. We'll go a lot more into depth in this inside of in class, but let's go ahead in the notes here. I'll just take a quick look and preview that. We look at speech. This is what the character says or how they say it. Now, it could be that they stutter, they speak really fast, maybe they repeat themselves or whatever, right? It might be just the delivery quality. But it's also about what you talk about. When you think about a character and when they talk about blank, right? They only talk about this. You think about some of your friends. They only talk about one thing, right? Well, that says something about them. Or if you meet somebody new and the first thing they talk about is this, that reveals something about them. So it's how they speak, but it's also what they speak about. We look at thoughts. This is what's going through a character's mind. Like, what are they thinking? What's going on? What makes them tick inside? Why are they doing the thing that they do? Their motivations and stuff. Now, sometimes we'll get this through a monologue or we'll get this through a soliloquy. But a lot of times it's going to be trying to decide, like, okay, here's what they're doing and how they did it. Does that reveal about what was going on inside their mind? And sometimes the author will tell us this as well. The effect, this is the relationship between characters. Like, our character and how we impact somebody else, right? Now that tells us something about him, or maybe vice versa. He meets a new character and something happens what was that effect? What does this say about him? Again, you think about like somebody who's easily influenced, right? Like when other characters come in and it changes them a little bit, that tells us a little bit about them. Actions, this is what they do and how they do it. This is probably between this and speech, this is probably the two most these are the ones that are going to take the most effort, but they're going to give you a lot of information. They're going to give you a lot of characterization, a lot of clues about those characters. This is what they do and how they do it and why they do it. And notice these are all connected, right? And then finally, looks. And this is, we're going to get this in two places. A lot of times it's going to be what the author tells us. Okay, the author is going to tell us this information, but sometimes it's going to be other characters will say something like nice hat, or that hat looks like it fell out of the 80s or whatever, right? So the author didn't tell us he's wearing an old style cap, but other characters do, and then we learn a little bit from them. Again, we're going to get this in two ways. We're either going to get it directly or indirectly. Directly, when the author tells us, he'll say this character speaks with a slow southern drawl. He's wearing blank, right? But a lot of times it's going to be inferred or indirect, and we're going to have to guess it from the clues that the author gives us. Okay, so our goal today is to look at these notes. We've got some different examples. We're going to pull up some different, we're going to look at some different videos and stuff. And then we're going to, in these spots right here, add in our thoughts. Like, what did we learn? What did we see? And what gave us that clue, right? Like, what did we see or what did we hear that gave us that idea? That's what we're going to be focusing on. So anyway, I hope you have a great Monday. This will be a setup for the rest of the week where we're going to really focus on characterization in the stories that we read. Good luck, everybody.